the relationships do matter, but they may not see me as a transformed person, and they also may not have an interest in being transformed. And we have to be okay with them being the way that they want to be.
Welcome to another episode of Soul Shift Sessions podcast, where we have deep, transformative conversations to help you transform your mind to transform your life. I'm your favorite freedom and financial life coach, Coach Sapphire Star. And of course, with me, I have my favorite co host, Coach.
Kyle McCloud.
And we are so excited. We're always excited, actually, to get on.
Always.
Always.
Yes, always.
To have these.
Although we're not usually recording this late. And so, like, even with your introduction, you're like so like calm and smooth and all that stuff. Instead of like in the morning, you be hyped up.
Right.
Don't.
It's a different flavor this time of day.
Yes.
You're getting a different flavor of Sapphire Star. Sapphire Star nonetheless, but just different sauce. So
this is the afternoon sauce.
Afternoon sauce. Okay. And I'm sure if we were to ever record at night, that would be a different vibe. Jesus.
Hey, first of all, if we recorded at night, the real question is, how well would we be able to physically do? Because I know for myself, the closer I get to 9 p.m., my body starts declining. Like, if I'm coming in for a landing at 9 o'clock, it's like, it's going, the angle is off after 9 o'clock if I'm trying to do anything important. The angle is off.
It's off. And it's definitely probably going to get quiet storm. It's probably going to be unhinged. It's probably going to just be like, I don't know if there's going to be any transformation happening.
Correct. There might be some nonsense happening, but I don't know about transformative conversations in the evening time. Like, I just don't know.
Shenanigans with shenanigan again. There will definitely be shenanigans. Social sessions shenanigans. Yeah. That would be that episode.
Or soul shift sessions after dark. Ain't no transformation found in these parts. Transformation don't live here after dark, baby. It don't live here. Nothing but nonsense lives here after dark.
Exactly. I feel like that's a great segue into the conversation today.
Yeah.
Speaking of transformation,
yes.
Today we want to talk about, and this idea to talk about this particular topic came from, I believe it was episode 7 or 8. I can't remember which one, where it was like this aha moment went off where we were discussing being transformed and untransformed spaces,
right.
And how do you navigate that? And it was like, ooh,
it started with us talking about Remember the Titans, and when in that movie you have Denzel Washington who's playing Coach Boone, and then I can't remember the name of the other actor, but he's playing Coach Yost. And when they are leaving the school, they are divided by color. And then that will not suffice for Boone. And so he says, if you playing on offense, you get on that bus. If you playing on defense, you get on this bus. And get comfortable, because whoever you sit next to, that's your roommate. Don't matter what color they are, that's your roommate. And you see the struggles that they're having in camp, in this football camp. And by the end, they are kumbayaing it up. I mean, there's really like one person who don't love nobody in the group. Everyone else they're so together because they had a transformative experience. And the student leaders, once they got on the same page, everyone else fell suit with the exception of one. And then They're on the bus. They're headed back. They're singing songs. And the parents are hearing them singing on the bus. And they're like, what did they do to these kids? Like they thought something like, I don't remember, but I feel like it's like, did they drug them? What happened? And that's when I saw that it reiterated. And the reason why I say reiterated is because I have worked on programs for youth at risk with my cousin. And I remember him saying, just because you're transformed doesn't mean that your environment has been transformed too. So keep in mind, when you go back, everybody's going to be expecting the same old you. And it's going to be up to you to navigate yourself around those environments. And that was the same thing in the movie, because just their parents weren't transformed. They had to work at that.
And that's tough because, you know, the kids and as individual people, we do the work.
Yeah.
We go through the things.
Yes.
And so one side of that is like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. And when I meet opposition or meet someone who doesn't understand this transformation, there's a tendency to first get upset. But really the reality is these people haven't had the opportunity to do the work, whether they choose to do it or whether they're forced to do it. They still haven't had the opportunity to go through that. So it's kind of looking at it twofold. I remember my first passport stamp, first trip out the country was to Haiti. And it was a solo trip. And I met with this, it was a medical mission. I met this team in Miami, and then we went to Haiti for 7 days in Hotland Bay. And this was a very transformative experience because, and I was working as a clinical laboratory scientist with a women's clinic. We had limited resources available, but a team of just people who was committed, a community of people who showed up and supported us in everything we needed to make this clinic happen for the people that was in the community. There were times where, and I know in the community where they didn't have electricity. And so in the clinic, sometimes we were working without power, which
I know
can
that sounds
be
crazy.
challenging. Yeah. But we were able to make it happen. Everything we needed. It was such a huge success. And needless to say, as a result of that 7-day trip, I was just transformed. I was on fire. I got back home. I was just ready to go. And I remember the next day I woke up like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because in the community I was in Hotland Bay, people got up with the sun because you wasn't sure if you was going to have electricity or not. So you got up with the sun. It was a lot of hustling, bustling. And you went on ahead and you maximize the energy of the sun that you needed to do the work that you need to do. And so I still had that thing going where I woke up early in the morning, ready to go. I was cleaning out my closet. It was something happening in me. And I remember my ex-husband, waking up and was like, what is going on with you? And I was like, I don't know. I just feel so good. I feel amazing. I'm inspired. I'm grateful. And he was just like, you're doing too much.
The look on your face, like,
I was so heartbroken because, and that's what I was talking about, different ways to look at it. Because I'm having this aha moment as we're talking now, and I'm remembering that experience because initially I felt resentful.
It's
like
deflating.
I just came back from
It's
this.
like, why are you poo-pooing on my experience?
Right. I'm like, are you serious? Right. And so, but he didn't have that experience. He don't know I was living in this community, and sometimes we had power, sometimes we didn't, or just the amazing people that I met who were complete strangers that help us navigate, not knowing the language, the Creole, French, all that, just the generosity of complete strangers. He didn't have that experience. And so, but it did resent and contentment. But it's again speaking to what we're talking about, being transformed, but being in untransformed environments. And how do we navigate that?
Well, I think that you navigate it the way you always have, like still being your true authentic self, right? Then you have the conversations that you have with people that are not transformed. And I think about Lisa Nichols talking about her family and her circle when she was going through a lot of the changes that she was going through. And she gave them the ability to be off the hook. Like they did not have to change according to the way that she would have wanted them to change. She got to just be Lisa with her family, just as you get to be Star with your circles that may have not transformed, or Sapphire Star. And I get to be Kyle in my circles that are not necessarily transformed, but still important. Like the relationships do matter, but they may not see me as a transformed person, and they also may not have an interest in being transformed. And we have to be okay with them being the way that they want to be. And I have a friend, very, very close friend, and he used to get really, really upset when like his family would choose to do things that were not evolved.
I like the word choice. Look at you being all diplomatic and tactful.
But he had a brother who, first of all, the brother, I think, childhood-wise, has some things that he still needs to deal with. But how it shows up as an adult is relationship after relationship, after hookup, after hookup, after relationship, after hookup. Like, it's all those things. And the thing is, he's one of those guys where it's like, you better hide whoever you need to hide, because the minute they get a chance to be around him, they're going to want to be with him. He just has that magnetism, and that he's just very smooth. However, some of the people that are some of the most smooth people that we know are alone inside. And so, my friend, he would get so upset when his brother would not really do the things to evolve himself. And so we had to have a conversation about it. And I'm like, he is being who he is, and he's allowed to be who he is. But you don't get to fault him for being who you think he should be.
I believe transformation, evolution, growth is a process of maturity. Because my natural inclination, I would say, when I first began a journey of wanting to be better, to do better, to learn more, when I started that journey, it was the natural inclination for me was to isolate myself, because I just didn't have the maturity. And the reality is, it probably was I was not far enough removed from my old self. And being in these spaces with these
Brings
people,
out that old person, right?
because I'm still it brings that stuff out, And so I do believe it's a maturity journey as you go, because I will say now, as I am going through and navigating life, I can put my self in spaces where, like you said, it's okay for people to be who they are. Not that it wasn't before, but it definitely triggered. It triggered me.
Yeah.
Like,
don't you
like, are
don't
you
you
serious
want
right
to
now?
be better? Don't you want to have like better relationships and more opportunities and just more for yourself? Like, don't you want that? And some people, they're like,
Yeah.
I'm fine where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, as I was transforming and getting to the place where I am, it's like I didn't want to be
Mhm.
around it because I believe the things that we're around, the things we see, they have a huge impact on us. And if we're not mature in
Yeah.
ourselves, we're not strong in ourselves, we're not evolved, that stuff can have a negative
Yeah.
impact. I'm also very leery and reluctant to be around people who want to hold me to who I
Yes.
used to be. Because it's one thing for me to accept who
Right.
you are, but then you don't want to accept me
Yeah.
for who I am, and you want to pigeonhole me to what you
Yeah.
used to do. I don't tolerate that. I'm
Right. Well,
sorry.
we still get to
Maybe I
choose
need
what
to still grow.
spaces that we're going to be in. And we've said this a long time ago, which is if everybody is doing their best, some people's best is not necessarily good enough for me. This is why there's certain family
Yeah.
members that you're just not going to see me hanging around them because either A, who they are and how they're being doesn't work for me, or they want me to be something that I am not. And of course, then there's just like the whole concept of like toxic environments. And it's just like we have family members that create a toxic environment. It's like, I'm not going to hang out there. I love you, but I'm not going to hang out there.
Yeah. And we talk about choices. Well, family members was never my choice.
Yeah.
Someone else made that
Yeah.
choice for me.
Right.
So I love this quote that I heard, and maybe that's my quote for the podcast is just because we're blood doesn't mean we're related. And so I think that's another thing for people, and it's the ties that
Yeah.
binds us because of just by
Yeah.
proximity, because we were raised in the same house
Does not
together.
mean.
Our parents and my parents decided they wanted to have another child, and like, oh, I'm in the house with you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a challenge that people have is trying to navigate that, still trying to be a part of something that honestly they didn't have a choice to be in to
Mm-hmm.
begin with. But obviously, when you become adult, it is now your choice if you're going to continue to
Yeah.
be around these people. Not to sound cold hearted, because family is family, right? It's still blood.
However,
That has
in 2025, I got enough stuff going on that I don't need to take off my stuff and your stuff. So
yeah.
I just choose not to be in certain environments. And I'm not above like, all right, I'm out. Later.
Yeah, yeah. That's the maturity thing. Like, okay, I know I can be in this. Let me, special occasions, family get-togethers every now and then, but you know how much time you can spend in these spaces, because that goes to that story that you tell about that plant. What kind of
My
plant was it
peace lily.
again? Your peace lily, which I'm going to get me one of those. And poor little Tank Tank was not thriving. You had to
I had to
change the
change the environment.
environment.
Yeah.
And Tank is now
Thriving in the
growing and and,
ground.
and
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah. Yeah.
We sometimes as human beings, we those are things that we have to do if we decide that we want something different for
Yeah.
our lives.
I noticed
We want to grow, we want to
I
flourish.
noticed that my life can be very reflective of whatever's going on up here. And I think that it also shows up in the people that show up as well. So if I am
So
focused
true.
on things that are not causing me to feel good emotionally, I also might find myself around people that either A, they're not feeling good emotionally either. It's like we're in the same boat. Or B, it's like I don't even like these people. And yet they are right here in my same space. And I have to focus on other things in order to change the mood that I'm experiencing. And the funny thing is like, I know I've said this stuff before on the podcast. And like, you've heard me say, we didn't come here for the struggle, but we did come here for the contrast.
Yeah.
And yet I'll have these moments where it's like, I'm not even taking my own advice.
Advice. Yeah. Yeah. But that speaks to the premise and purpose of Soul Shift Session podcast is having these conversations, mindset shifts that then feed into our action, that then feed into our results, because our actions, our beliefs regulates our
Yeah.
actions. And
And emotions.
what you said about and emotions, when you talk about the people that are around you that you attract.
Yeah.
Once you start
Right.
thinking differently, once you start even setting the course of, oh, I want, people will start showing up who are the very thing, either the example you want to be or someone that is willing to help you
Yeah.
get there. You know, it's such a powerful thing because I know when I moved back to Savannah, I was like, Lord, this is what I want. I want to grow my business. I want to grow my brand. I want to invest in my community. I want to, empower
Mhm.
women to go from just surviving to thriving. And when I say the people that have showed up in my life, people I've never met before, mind you, these are not people that I've knew. These are people I've never met before who were directly aligned with the very thing I said I wanted in my life. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And in addition,
So even if you are
in addition to that, we also are finding ourselves, sometimes we experience things that we don't like, so it helps clarify what we do like. And if you focus on that thing that you don't like, it builds momentum. So now I'm having a series of emotions that are going down in the direction that I really don't want to go. But because I'm so like focused on it, that's what happens. And it's like, if we just look and turn our focus somewhere else, it can make all the difference. Hence, environments. Making sure that we are not in the environments that are not pulling us so hard, or pulling out the things pulling the things out of us that we don't want pulled out.
We don't want. Yeah, because transform don't necessarily mean it's not there anymore. It's just how we choose to navigate through life with this newfound information, these new experiences, these new beliefs that we have, and choosing to do things differently. And I think ultimately it doesn't matter what environment you're in, because that true transformation is happening from within. And you can be in untransformed spaces, and that's okay, because your transformation is from within. You've done the work.
Doesn't mean that it is the other stuff is gone. Doesn't mean the other stuff is gone, because we all have the ability to fall into old ways of thinking. But we have the opportunity to be like, this is not how I'm thinking, is not how I've always been thinking. And there was a point in time where I was not only thinking better thoughts, but I was just operating differently. And what was the difference between then and now? And I find myself doing that a lot, which is, what are the things that I was doing that was working that I'm not doing right now?
It's like you're creating this blueprint, this new blueprint for you to kind of like navigate through and to get through.
But even like some of the daily things, like I had these periods where I go through meditation, and then I'll start getting caught up in other stuff. And it's like, it'll be like a week or 2 weeks. And next thing you know, a month has happened. I haven't meditated any at all. And I'm wondering why.
Why?
Why I think a
Why
hot
my life
mess
is
right
not going the
now.
way?
Because I wasn't doing the things that I was once doing before.
Yeah, there's maintenance in transformation. Yeah, you can get to that mountaintop. Yeah, transform, amazing. But you have to do the work to. It's not a one-stop shop. It's a thing you're constantly in the space of evolving, growing. It's like the seasons. They come, they go, and I do believe there's maintenance involved in our lifestyle that we're creating, the new mindset that we have. Because you think about the time it has taken, whatever mindset, limited beliefs, whatever you've experienced as a childhood experiences that has shaped who you are. That took years to
Long
get.
time.
And it's sometimes it's in there
Yeah.
strong. It's going to take that much time and then some as you're coming out on the other side as well. And like you said, it's a practice. Transformation is a practice. And maybe that practice is not being in spaces that isn't conducive for my continual practice of transforming.
There's this, I love the word maintenance because that is really what we have to do. There is no destination. There's just constant journey. And if I get in a car and I start driving that car, if that car is brand new, it's going to perform well for a long time. But there's going to come a point where it's going to be like, hey, I need some oil. I need these tires rotated and balanced.
Rotated.
I need some fuel. Like, did you just think that we was going to just ride out and I was never going to need anything?
Ride to the sunset. Like, no.
But sometimes I do treat myself that way, though, as if I can just keep going and going and don't do the actual maintenance things. I have to be reminded of that by looking at what's going on. It's like, oh, I didn't do my maintenance. That's what this is.
Didn't do your maintenance. And you know where I was about to go.
Please tell me. Please tell me.
With you plant a seed and, it grows. But there's weeds.
You gotta take out that hoe. You gotta take out that hoe.
Take that hoe
out.
Because there's things that exist that can really suck the life out of you. All that work that you put into yourself. There are things, there are people, there are environments that are parasitic. And they're not willing to do the work, but they will attach to you to suck the life out of you. And then they'll move on to the next host as if they
will. They will. And we can hijack
our
own
mind,
work, right? Like, we can be the ones that's hijacking ourselves. So it's like, it's not an external parasite. It's like you're being a parasite and sucking your own life out of you. And so that goes back to the maintenance, though. If you are doing the things, for some people, it's affirmation. For others, there's the meditating. And then exercise and just taking care of yourself through your diet and sleeping. All the things that your body needs and your mind needs. If you start getting away from that, next thing you know, hot mess is what shows up.
What's a non-negotiable for you when it comes to your evolved self being in non-transformed spaces? What are things you're like hard stop, not doing?
That's an interesting question. Can you say more? Because I'm not sure if I fully follow.
So, and I guess this just kind of comes from knowing yourself. And maybe there's something there where if you're put in certain spaces or certain environments that it can be a trigger for you and you're like, okay, I can't go there.
I don't know if I have one um that is like I can't go to these particular spaces. Um
Or maybe I can reframe that and reword that more positively. Like, what's your non-negotiable thing when it comes to your transformation maintenance? Something that you to do.
all right, so that's a I do get your question. I almost want to say that's a better question. I
Yeah.
don't think that I have non-negotiables of things that I have to do. However, I think that that also might be the challenge. So that I don't like, I probably need some non-negotiables. You know, like you have the Me Time Friday,
Mm.
and that's a non-negotiable. I know, like, I don't even know how often I reach out to you on a Friday because I know that that's your day and that you are catering to Sapphire Star that day. And
Yeah.
for me, it probably is time for me to have a form of non-negotiables. And
Yeah.
one of the things that seem to always make a difference is if I go out for a long ride, whether that ride,
I was getting
yeah,
ready to say, it's cycling for you. I was
right, it
answering your
is
question. I said it's
cycling.
cycling.
However, I don't have the non-negotiables. Like I have to go cycling on these days at these times. Like it has to happen. Otherwise, I'm going to be off the rails. Sometimes I go off the rails, not realizing that I haven't been cycling, and that is the one of the reasons why I am off the
Mhm.
rails.
So now that needs to
It
be a
has to
non-negotiable at
be
least
a,
once a week.
and it's a little different during the school year. Like the kids are going to be out at the end of the week, which means I can get up early in the morning and the sun is coming up earlier. You know, by 5 o'clock, you can see the road. By 4:30, I could
Yeah.
be out. And when the day starts to arise, I can be out there for a much longer period in the morning and get back and still go through with my day. But when daylight savings time happens and school is in full gear, finding those opportunities to be able to ride, they get kind of challenging during the week because got to take the kids. Then we got to be, when they get home, we got to start cooking and all that stuff and get ready for dinner and all those things. And so, but I think that you're right. There has to be some form of non negotiable when it comes to cycling just to maintain a level of harmony within myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. We're going to be checking in with you on
Yeah.
that. Like, hey,
Where
where
are
are
we
we
with
with
that?
that cycling non-negotiable?
Where are
Yeah,
we
where
with
are we
that?
at with,
Yeah.
with that? Like,
Yeah.
we're scheduling
Yeah.
everything else. Let's go ahead and put that on the
What's
schedule.
interesting about
Yeah.
me is I don't know if you've ever done this, but I will go and sometimes I just need to do something different, rest. How many times have you gone to bed and the answer came like the next day? But I am
Oh yeah.
pounding, pounding,
Yeah.
pounding, pounding at the problem.
Pound the pavement.
And the problem is not resolving itself. And sometimes I have this hard time just getting away from the computer and go and doing something else because the more it doesn't work out, the more pissed off I get and the more pissed off at myself I get. And it's just like, if you would just let go, if you would just let go. I know these things,
Just let go.
Sapphire. Like cognitively, I
Yeah.
know these things. And yet when I'm in it, they escape.
And that's why today I took a nap because as you know, the listeners don't know is that somehow, some way I deleted all my Google
I
Docs
was
for
confused. I'm like,
my
how did this
business,
happen?
organized chaos. And I was like, are you
Are you
kidding me
kidding
right
me?
now? Like 5 years worth of documents. I had just created these SOPs because I'm shifting more into a CEO mindset for my
Right.
business. Coach Kyle is helping me, coaching me through that, navigating that as a high functioning, very busy woman and helping me create that for my business, and they're gone. And like you said, just pounding at the problem. And I figured it out. I figured out how to recover my documents, even if you delete them permanently from your
Just
Google Docs.
confused on
There's
how
a
they got
way.
deleted
You
in
have
the
a very
first
short
place.
window.
But we don't know the answer to that question.
I think, when I was trying to create space, some kind of way I done deleted. Because remember, that was the next, I was like, oh, remember I asked you, I said, why is it 77% storage? And you was like, oh. So I started going through pictures. I don't know how I ended up on documents. Some kind of way in my quest to find space in my life, I deleted everything and created chaos, right?
Okay.
But I was like, take a nap. Like, I solved it. The problem was solved. I was able to recover all my documents, but I was like, oh, I need a nap. That beat me up really, really bad. But for me, you know what I find that it's a I can't think of the word right now. I'm gonna say it's a simple joy or something. I can't think of how I'm trying to describe it, but it's mindless thinking. Things that I can do where I don't have to think. So typically, I am listening to podcasts, personal development podcasts, real estate. I'm reading books about personal development. There's no just trash my life, right? And so I find myself, I was like, ooh, like I love mindless reading. Something that is not about nothing really. It just allows me to escape, but it also frees my brain up where I don't have to think about anything. That definitely is a guilty pleasure. Jesus, that's the word I was looking for. Guilty pleasure is just some mindless reading or something, some activity where I'm just like people watching, which I don't know. I tend to think a lot with people watching because I create stories about the people I'm watching. They don't even know it. Like they're characters in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, she mad at him. He done did something at the house. That's why they walking like it's a whole
You
story going on when I
totally
people
have
watch.
me thinking about a real experience when you said that. So Patrice and I and the kids went on I think this was like our first cruise. And I am pretty inebriated at dinner. You already could tell this is already going to be interesting.
This is gonna be good. This is gonna be
They
good.
had us sitting at a table with other people, and this is a Carnival cruise. It's our first one ever. And I see this guy and this girl or woman. They are having dinner. It's like a two-top table, so they're just with each other. And then the photographer comes over. He's taking pictures, but they don't want no picture. They don't want their pictures taken. I have all. Say like that too.
I done created the tea. I got the wine and the tea.
These two people belong to someone else, and they not supposed to be on this cruise together. But they on this. I've got the whole story. I got it all mapped out. No pictures, no video. Okay. We might be out here in public. However, there will not be any evidence that I was with you or you were with me. And I ran with that for a while that night. I ran with that for a while. Like I said, see, every little thing backed up my story that I made up about these two people, right up until the next day when they did take a picture with each other.
Like, you know what? Y'all are fired from this movie.
You
in my
all
head.
are off book right now. You're off the script. You're off the reservation.
You're fired. You're off.
All of it. All of it.
Listen, when I people watch, their characters, they're moving parts, and these people don't even. And there's nothing that you can tell me otherwise about this story I have in my head about these people. And God forbid, like, I bought a property earlier this year that's across the street from the property I'm in now. And I always, as soon as they pull up, I'm like, oh yeah, this is this. I'm creating scenarios, stories, why they're there, what
All of it.
type of experience they're having. Why did they choose to come to Savannah? What are their vacation?
All of it. All of it. These people have no idea that they was having an affair in my head.
They didn't know.
They are totally.
Listen, I am Pearl from 227. I'm in that window.
Pearl in that window. She's seeing it all. She is seeing it all. Okay, that's what Pearl's job is, to see it all.
I became Pearl. I don't know when. She's here.
Hey, look, I tell my wife all the time, you're gonna be that lady that's out there. Remember, do the right thing. And the lady who was out there in the window fussing at everybody, that's gonna be that's gonna be my wife. She's gonna be fussing at everybody. And she,
Oh,
fussing. Get out. Why you up in front of my doorstep? Why
I
you
love
up in
it.
here? All that.
I love it. So yeah, I need things that as a, I'm an overthinker, I'm an analytical thinker, I'm a Gemini, so we're always thinking. I need things that I don't have to think about. And like you spoke to, like doing things spontaneously, not really thinking about it. And maybe some reluctance, but when I'm like, okay, I'll do it, it's so much fun. And like I'm refreshed, I'm rejuvenated. I can now really I'm up, my battery is charged, and now I can operate at full capacity versus, now my battery is on like 1% and I'm trying to do all this stuff with 1%
The
charge.
challenge
Come
with
on.
overthinking for me, or doing an activity that requires no thought, I'd love to watch a movie. But the thing is, if I'm sitting there and I'm watching, now this is why I use my children. I use them because if I'm watching The Handmaid's Tale with my child, I don't have to worry about that thought that creeps in called, you should be doing X, right? You should be doing X comes up a lot. And if I'm by myself, I could put on my favorite movie. I could put on Top Gun. I could put on The Matrix, and I will still have that thought, and I will pause it, and I'll go do something else.
Go do it.
And so, but if I use a kid, I am now, whatever they're watching, I'm watching, and I'm locked in because I told them I would. And so there's no guilt. There's no, because I'm spending time with my family, and they know that they are getting some quality time at that moment. So yeah, I use them for that. And then actually video games with a storyline. That's actually very helpful for me. I recently played this game called like Star Wars Survivor, and it was a huge game. I mean, from the physical places that you go to the storyline, I was betrayed by someone I thought was my friend. Like, I'm like, for real, all this that we've been through, and now at the end of the story, you gonna betray my character? Like, how dare you? How dare you? Huge story, huge storyline, and that takes me away from, like, I don't get the you should be doing X when I'm in that story. And that's what I like about, like, I don't even put them on hard settings, because I just want to experience the story as it's written by the developers. So Star Wars, Tomb Raider does a good job of that. But anything that's just going to take me away and immerse me in a story, that is no guilt.
And for me, Me Time Friday gives me permission. Because like you said, any other time I would feel, like you said, that's that guilt of you should be. But I not only train other people about Me Time Friday and how they interact with me, but it's also training me. I'm training myself that, hey, this is, and I don't, this is your time to do whatever you want. You don't have no work or anything. So I don't feel any guilt on Friday when I do things, because I designed that specifically for that purpose of, focusing on me, what I love to do, and not, beat myself up for not doing some things maybe I should do. Like, it's like, oh no, it's Me Time Friday. I
I
get
get
to,
to.
like, it's like I'm
I
looking
get
forward
to.
to it. I
Yeah.
get to. I get
Yeah.
to. Yeah. Yeah.
And to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
that is something I get to is probably a phrase that we are not exercising enough. I
Ooh.
saw a thing on
Yeah.
social media that says something about it's a blessing that I get to work on a problem of my choice, in regards to chasing a dream. Like I get to work on problems that have to do with my dream. I don't remember exactly the words for it, but it's like I get to. And I think that's a huge way of reframing some of the challenges that we're having. Like I get to work on this problem and knowing that when I get on the other side of this problem, it's going to be vastly beneficial for me and my family.
Yeah, and I read like 2 and 3 books at a time, and I don't know if that came from Atomic Habits or The Power of Thinking Bigger, one of those books that I was reading, but that was in there. It was like, I get to do the things. I get to wake up in the morning and walk in my neighborhood, which is good for my
Yeah.
health. Like, I get to work on my own business. I'm an entrepreneur. Like, that reframing that is it's so very powerful. And it gives you a different perspective of how you're looking at things and how you're navigating things and how you're going
Yeah.
through things in life. And maybe that's the thing about this conversation that we're having. Like, I get to be in these non-transformed spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. I get to be on this journey with you as you are going through these apps. Like I get to go on journeys with you that I didn't even ask to go on.
I've definitely hijacked you on this whole dating journey that I'm on. Kyle is on the journey with me too. He didn't ask to be, but I have definitely hijacked him, and he's going.
One of the things about friendship is that we keep showing up, right? We just keep showing up. Even if it's not something that you asked for. Technically, I did ask for this, right? Like I asked for this because somewhere in my vortex, I said that I wanted to do a podcast with someone and have conversations that are transformative. And in that process, it's like sometimes I don't realize what comes with what I'm asking. Like I don't, like I only see this one aspect, and I'm not aware that there are other things.
You don't see the details.
I don't see the details of like what comes with it, right? So like, to be honest, gang, every challenge that you're probably experiencing, you probably didn't realize it, but you probably asked for it in a way that you didn't think, because like you were just thinking about the positive aspects. You didn't think that you would go on a journey of dating life. Like
as a married man, 20 years.
Of 20 years, like I didn't know I would go on this thing. And I ain't gonna lie, this dating journey has been like into the Badlands. Okay, like that's
the dark side for sure.
From the dark side. Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And
I feel like I'm making your marriage better.
You are definitely making me scared to leave. I don't know if the marriage is getting better, but I know that I'm scared to leave. Terrified. Terrified even. Because if this is what you're seeing on your side, right, where you're getting these different types of people that are interested, in my head, I would, like, they probably wouldn't look as ridiculous as some of the stuff that you've seen, but I would get
No, I think it's just as
I
ridiculous.
know from an emotional standpoint, I would get some emotionally different types of people coming across my way, and I won't see it coming. Like I'll be blindsided every freaking time because we already said I don't look at all the details, right? I look at one particular aspect, and then next thing you know, some crazy stuff happens, and I didn't even see this coming, you know. And
Yep.
yeah, so thank you for
You're,
taking
you're,
me on the
you're
journey.
welcome.
And if there's a remember the shows called Scared Straight about you take the kids to the jail.
Yeah.
That's where we are, right? Like that's
That's
where
where
we
we are.
are. Scared straight.
And just speaking to, like you said, like, I believe we're both
Yeah,
visionaries. We both bigger
yeah,
picture
for
thinkers.
sure.
I do think about details. I'm not consumed by them, but I think women are more just in general are more detail
And
oriented
you
than men.
overthink.
Just
So from
yeah,
there's a lot
we're
of thinking that
yeah.
happened. Like, why did he say that? Why did he?
Yeah, why
There's a
there's a
lot of
lot of
why did
thinking.
he?
But my point is like I did say in my vortex, oh, I want to do a podcast, but I don't want to do it alone. Because I was like, oh, the details. I know it's
Yeah,
gonna be a lot that come with this in terms of like if you were doing a podcast by yourself. So the reason I thought about the way I thought was because of the details. Whereas the other way around for you is like, oh no, I really want to
right.
do
We'll
this
figure it
type of
out.
thing or whatever. So we had the same thought, but the reasons
Yeah,
we had
we're
thought.
different, right? And I haven't. I feel like I haven't take the only. I take you on the type of journeys where it's like, you know, I got a family member passing away, and you got to sit on and listen to me crying on the phone.
Or listen, these cyclist stories are amazing. Listen, these are because Kyle, if he ain't
Ain't
dying,
living,
he ain't living. So
ain't dying, ain't living.
like I who knew? I didn't know. So I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning some
yeah.
things. I'm
Hey,
learning some
but
things, but I'm
I
definitely here
appreciate
for
the
it.
fact that you still encourage the foolishness on my side. Like there's other
I
people
do.
like, please be careful. You're going out there on that bike again. It's like that bike. You're going out there on that bike again. But you, but
That
you,
bite.
you encourage all the foolishness.
I'm like, where are we going today? We're
Where we going
Goonies. Where are we
today?
going today?
And then when I get halfway through it and there's no way to turn back because I'm halfway through, I'm like, this probably was said. Like I think I said I was gonna do this in a moment where I was seriously depleted and wasn't thinking straight. And now that I'm out here, I'm kind of feeling like I bit off more than I can chew. But
But now you in there.
the only way back is through.
I feel like that's a word. We can end the podcast
The
right
only way
there.
back is through.
When we're navigating
We
life,
are. And
we can't
there
go
as
back.
you grow,
We
right?
got to go
As you
through.
grow and as you transform, there really is no going back. The butterfly doesn't go back to being a caterpillar. No matter how much he wants to go back to being a caterpillar. Like he might be saying, I had these poisonous spikes on my back. Ain't nobody F with me when I was a caterpillar. And then here I go, deciding that I want to fly around. Now there's predators everywhere. Can't go back. I remember in The Matrix, he said
Can't
that
go
too.
back.
He was like, I can't go back, can I? He was like, no. He's like,
No.
but do you really want to? Do you really want to?
This has been really good. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this
You and I,
conversation. Guys, please put in the comment section any takeaways, anything, any aha moments that you've had during this conversation. Please share your story of transformation and how you navigate some tough, muddy situations sometimes that you're in, and how you protect your peace, and how do you maintain your journey of growth in your life. Of course, we always say here, sharing is caring. If you know someone who can use a transformation, who can use a soul shift, please share this podcast with them. And we also encourage you guys, we are on a mission to getting I think it's 150 subscribers, and we can't do that without you guys. So please subscribe to our channel. Please, if you would love to be a part of the conversation, we would love to have you on the show live, to have an opportunity to share your story, to help transform others. And you can join us at www.soulshiftsessions.com. You can join the tribe, you can join the conversation, you can learn more about Coach Kyle and myself. We would love to have you a part of the tribe. It's www.soulshiftsessions.com. We're also on Instagram at soulshiftsessions. Any final words, even though I felt like you dropped the
I do have one, because
Coach
I have
Kyle?
to have my quote. It is
You
better
do.
to light a candle than curse the darkness. Thank you. I would say I'm here all day, but I'm not.
He's going to
That's all
go
I
take a
wanna do.
nap. So with that said, guys, go take a nap. With that said, guys, always remember to let your soul glow.
Till
Until next time.
Peace.
Peace.